Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Game 1 of the OSL Semi-Finals. This is a game between JulyZerg and BackHo, and this is being played on Hwarangdo, I believe. And we're going to have JulyZerg starting off in purple in the bottom right-hand corner, and that means BackHo is going to be starting off in the top left-hand corner. And very excited about this matchup. This is going to be a great set, I think. We've been seeing some really good stuff out of JulyZerg. He's on his way if he beats BackHo and ends up going on to face Best and beats Best, then he will be achieving the Golden Mouse, the only second person ever to achieve the Golden Mouse. So there's a lot on the line for JulyZerg. BackHo, kind of new to the scene though. Well, not new to the scene, but new to this level of Star League achievement. And so he's looking for kind of carve out a name for himself here, and he has been doing decently well. He's obviously gotten to the semifinals. And he's also gotten to the quarterfinals of the GOM TV Intel Classic, so expect some good play out of him as well.
Yeah, really looking forward to this match. The only thing I would say about it is for you guys watching on YouTube, we were trying to commentate on this game live, so we've kind of seen half the game and we kind of know the result. But the stream unfortunately went down, so we weren't able to record a full live commentary on it. So we've decided to redo it because we feel that would be more synchronized and better for people watching. So July's sending a scout out early, and we're going to try and stay as true to our original commentary as we can. July's sending a scout out early, and I think it's very important on a map like Hwarangdo, and this is something that July has consistently done. Even in the last matchup, we saw him do it versus Rock, sending that drone scout out in Hwarangdo, and that makes all the difference. BackHo has set the pylon down aside, so we can expect a force. And BackHo trying to run. July scout getting in just in the nick of time, just with a second to spare. July gets the drone into BackHo's base, and we saw how pivotal that was in deciding the game versus the Rock on this particular map. And it's important for Zerg players to do that. And I'm glad for one to see July come out with that and get his scout in just in the nick of time. A second later, and the drone would have been blocked off on the ramp and not been able to get into Hwarangdo's into BackHo's base. As it is, July's in there. A lot of people have been talking about how, and interesting enough, obviously BackHo has scouted July as well and realized what July's up to. So he's put the Forge and the Nexus down straight away. He's put the Nexus down first, counting on obviously July's 12 hatchery build. July only now starting up his spawning pool. So actually, I think, sorry, I made a mistake. Should we start again? I've made a mistake because I think
No,
BackHo is only now. Never mind. BackHo is only now sending his probot. I thought he'd scouted July earlier, but he
yeah, no, I
clearly
thought
hasn't.
that
Anyway,
too.
what I wanted to,
It's just
I that
interesting
was
that
for
he
some reason
actually
I had
did
that
that
impression.
without
Anyway,
scouting here.
yeah, it's strange that he actually went the Nexus first. I automatically assumed that he had the scout in him, but he's only now arriving with the scout. So if July had gone for, say, a 9 pool or something like that, BackHo might have found himself in a little bit of trouble from Zerglings, from early harassed Zerglings. But I guess he feels confident enough that he can defend on this map regardless. The one thing I want to say is a lot of people seem to be discounting July for me, and I don't think that's fair. I think July is a champion. He's a proven commodity, and people seem to be thinking that he wouldn't have what it takes to take on BackHo. That's what a lot of people have said. I obviously disagree with it very strongly, but it'll be interesting to see what choice of strategy both players go for. BackHo looks like he's got a probe in anticipation of July maybe trying to get a third hatchery down early, and he's just got his probe waiting at the expansion, at the off expansion just north of July's base in anticipation of that. But we know July's already teching to lair, very early tech to lair straight away with a 2 hatchery build. So July, for now, sticking to a 2 hatchery build.
Yeah, and July, he did get that scout. July got that scout in really, really early. He was able to see exactly what BackHo was doing. BackHo finally, I think this is the first time he's gotten that scout in there, is going to see what July's doing now. But because July saw exactly what BackHo was doing, he has gone for entirely economy. He's gone for all economy. He's just produced a few Zerglings, it looks like, and every other larvae he's had has gone towards drones and overlords and what have you. Um, he hasn't produced a third hatchery yet. That's true, but for the most part, he's going to have a very strong economy going into the middle game here because he has been spending all of his money on economy. He's going to have his lair up in a minute, and if hopefully he can pick off this scout before the lair goes up, so that BackHo won't be able to see what tech he has. Because, like you said, scouting is very, very important, and BackHo had not gotten a scout in there. I did think it was kind of interesting that he put the Nexus down first without scouting. That could have been a grievous mistake. But JulyZerg has his Hydros down outside there. Actually, it's interesting. It looks like BackHo's been running around in JulyZerg's main base, hoping he would put down his tech there. And in the meantime, JulyZerg has actually put some of his tech down at his secondary. I don't think BackHo has spotted that yet. And it looks like he is going to get a spot on it with that probe. And this probe is actually even going to escape. I guess he's seen what he needed to see. He figures that by this point in time, JulyZerg isn't going to get a spire if he hasn't already. So he's going to just scram now and see if he's gotten that third base, I guess. And there he has gotten the third base. So it's looking to be more of a longer-term game. Both players getting a lot of economy right at first and not many forces looking to macro up here.
Yeah, BackHo's put up his Stargate as well as a robotics facility, so we might be seeing reverse air for BackHo. I think it is a strategy. It's an interesting strategy to go for on this map, considering that he only has one gas to start with. BackHo bringing the probe back in July, trying to counter it, trying to anticipate the probe with his drone. BackHo coming in for another scout, but July's Hydralisk pop just as the scout comes in and he takes out the probe. So it's going to be an interesting game of StarCraft here. July putting down a fourth hatchery now, really macroing heavily. We might see a deluge of Hydralisks descending down on BackHo's base, and BackHo's going to be forced to defend this. He's got a decent number of photon cannons out. He's putting the robot. He's got the Stargate out, but by the time the Corsairs come, I think July's going to be well able to defend against them, and I don't think BackHo's going to be able to do too much harassment off July's economy. The other interesting thing was I think July had an opportunity to block BackHo's
Whoa,
scout.
lurkers
July straight
already.
away morphed to lurkers. July's morphing to lurkers, but meanwhile BackHo is killing the Overlord just south of his main, so that Overlord's probably going to go down. And it'll be interesting to see whether July can get these lurkers in position. July does have a couple of Zerglings, and it'll be interesting to see because obviously the point of this map is that there is also a rear exit. So even if July manages to put lurkers down across those bridges, BackHo could still theoretically maneuver units around the back and get at July's base that way. And he does have a robotics facility, so we might see an observatory going down soon if once he sees that. We've also seen a robotics support bay going up for BackHo, so he's going to have his reavers out. We still haven't seen an observatory for him though, but his Corsair should get the scout off. Again, trying to do some harassment on the Overlords, but he should be able to see exactly what July is up to. And it looks like he is going for a reaver strategy, but he doesn't. He's only produced one Corsair so far. July might just sneak a couple of Zerglings through, so July's going to get the scout in. So July's going to know what's coming. He's going to be able to anticipate this, and I wonder how that's going to affect his strategy.
That's very interesting. Yeah, JulyZerg, and I've actually seen July do this a lot. He does this a lot more than other Zergs. Try and sacrifice a few lings to run in there and get that scout off. Scouting's so important in a game like this, and JulyZerg letting one of his Overlords die, I'm not sure why he did that. I'm pretty sure he has Hydralisks around. But this is interesting that JulyZerg has completely rushed to Hydralisks, and there's a picture of JulyZerg from... I can't tell when that's from actually, but it's kind of an older. Obviously, it's an older uniform. He's playing for STX now, but wow, BackHo powering down a lot of these Overlords. He's actually sacrificing several hits on one of his Corsairs. He's doing a decent amount of damage with these Corsairs. He's picked off a few Overlords. I don't think he's actually lost any Corsairs yet. And looks like JulyZerg is going to get a Spire just so he can get some Scourges out to try and combat these few Corsairs there. I didn't see where the lurkers went. He rushed straight to lurkers. That was a ridiculously fast lurker rush. But I don't know where they went to now. Did they park out in front of BackHo's base? I haven't seen them.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm not sure where the lurkers have disappeared to. I was wondering that as well. I was wondering why July was allowing BackHo to molest his Overlords uncontested. BackHo with 3 Corsairs just roaming at will in July's base, and I actually have no idea where July is actually... July's positioned those lurkers across the bridge. BackHo now pushing out with Zealots as well as an Observer, and July forced to unboard those lurkers, but he managed to save his lurkers and not take any damage. But now BackHo is pushing out. He's got a couple of Zealots, and he's got a shuttle. The shuttle isn't speed upgraded yet, though. He also has 3 Corsairs, so July is going to have a little bit of defending to do. BackHo obviously waiting for the Observer to come out before moving out because he wants to have the Observer support with his Reavers. July has got a decent-ish defense going. This isn't exactly a fast rush. July's now got that Spire up, so he might be able to... We've seen before Scourges being used to take that shuttle out, and it'll be interesting what July decides to do. BackHo, meanwhile, with the Forge spinning. But July does seem to have it. It isn't exactly a Reaver shuttle rush by BackHo. July is going to be expecting this, so I'm not sure how effective it's going to be in that context. That being said, BackHo's only got 1 Stargate, so and as I said, I was suspect about his ability to go Sair Reaver on this map with only the 1 gas, and therefore he's confined to the 1 Stargate. So he really can't power up that build as you could on another map by just taking the Natural Expo, and which is probably why he's being forced to extend himself a little bit more, and I'm not sure how viable the Corsair Reaver build is on a map like this. It's a lot slower to execute, gives the Zerg a lot more time to prepare, but BackHo has got speed upgraded Zealots. July's Hydralisks are upgraded as well, and July chasing one of the Corsairs with his Scourges, so a little back and forth going on in the middle of the map. BackHo seems to be content to just push out slowly and expand. He's not really putting too much pressure on July, but July, meanwhile, hasn't affected too much damage to him. Looks like we're going to see a big battle coming up, and obviously whoever wins that battle is probably going to have the decisive advantage in this game.
Yeah, it's interesting. BackHo now getting up his 3rd base, and JulyZerg only with 3 bases. So if BackHo can affect some pressure on JulyZerg, even if